Welcome to episode number 2 of Tea and Tesla, where we're having tea and talking Tesla. Today we've got a legendary guest in person. We're out here IRL in an undisclosed location in the Pacific Northwest. We've got Herbert Ong. You may know him from the Cyberbulls. He's one of the third or fourth most important of the rockstar podcaster group known as the Cyberbulls. He's always on X scheming about Tesla, and that he's kind of a new creator on the Tesla scene, I would say. So honored. He's kind of like my brother here in the Pacific Northwest, though, as like the few Tesla creators up here. So I thought, who better than to be the first guest on Tea and Tesla, where I'm gonna brew tea, or I already brewed tea, but then I'm gonna serve it to us. And yeah, so Herbert, welcome.
Thank you so much, Gali. That's fun. You are OG, so this is a real treat for me. Thank you. And I love tea, especially yours, right? It's called Galileo tea?
So that's my top secret tea startup that technically we're not supposed to discuss, but I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. No, but this is just this isn't my tea that I'm selling. It's just a little something I whipped up. Two types of jasmine tea.
Nice.
A little ginger, a little, orange peel, and a little homemade fireweed tea. And then a hint of cassia cinnamon. All organic. So, you usually drink tea?
Absolutely.
I'll leave the sticker on.
This is good. Thank you.
Yeah. What kind of tea do you usually drink?
Chinese tea. Yeah, jasmine.
Well, then this should be right up your alley.
Absolutely.
So here, wait. I'm thinking maybe try and fold your mic a little this way, so yeah, like that. Okay. Also, thank you for bearing with me as my first guest.
Problem. Do you know what this is?
What?
See, I'm tapping when you're giving me the tea.
Ooh, I kinda, but not really.
I think I told you this before.
You did tell me. It's like something about how that means that you want more or something.
Well, I heard the story, which is what happened is like there's a royalty. He wanted to go out to the public, and he of course had his bodyguard and his entourage, and so he would be the one to pour the tea to everybody. But in order for them to bow without revealing that he's the king or something like that they would do this. This is your bowing. So thank you for giving me the tea.
Ooh.
So you should do that.
You're welcome. I love it.
There you go.
Learn something new every day. There you go.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, and there's no like honey or anything. Yeah, so it's like a little herbal, a little bit of real tea. Yeah. There we go. Wow, success. Okay, Herbert, so let's dive into a little Tesla. Also, he got me this gift. I was not expecting to get a gift, but Herbert hooked me up with one of these little Optimus toys. So I feel like
I've got a bunch of them.
I kind of want to open it up now.
You come meet me, I'll give you a gift.
Herbert, so tell us about, let's just start with where did you first hear about Tesla?
Yeah. And
how did you leave your real life and become into the Tesla world?
Well, that took a long time, but I heard about Tesla in 2012. Basically, I was already investing in a bus company in Vancouver, Canada called Ballard, and that company went under. But I thought for sure that there was going to be this new technology, electric vehicles, or a version of that.
Yep.
And then 2012, I just happened to see Elon Musk on TV pitching his cars, and he had said at that time, I'm going to invest $95 million into this. And, it was sketchy, right? They had one car. Who knows if they'll succeed? But he said, I'm going to put in my own money. And I said, okay, I'll start investing. And when I first heard the pitch, and he gave that pitch, it just blew my mind right then and there, right? This idea that, okay, this electric battery, because the battery's at the floor, you don't need a lot of the parts. There's no engine, and there's a lot more crumple zone. I said, okay, that's incredible. Because the battery's on the floor, it doesn't flip over that often. And then just all of a sudden, it made so much sense that there's going to be less service required in the future. That's the thing that I hate the most, right? It's ICE cars, buying a car and then worried about the repairs in the future. So that was just a brilliant, just made me understand now why this is going to be so much better than everywhere else. That was 2012. I was all in Apple for a decade, for longer than that, multiple decades. And then as the years went by, I started to move more and more of my money to Tesla. And then just, that's what happened. And then 19, 20, I saw you. And
on the
Third
YouTubes?
Row podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's go.
You guys were like the Third Row podcast, and your interview with Elon. And then the year later, that's when I started to talked to Omar, Kristen, got to know you guys, and then that's how I got into the community.
Really cool. And so what are we allowed to know? Well, first, I think it's interesting that you're an Apple investor.
Yeah.
Because so many people in the Tesla community started out as Apple investors.
Yeah.
With like Steve Jobs and something magical about him bringing like tech into the real world with a new kind of computer. So it's so interesting to me that like almost before Wall Street and all these people saw the connection of Tesla being a computer company, all these like nerdy retail investors were like kind of spotting it out first. Are we allowed to know what was Herbert's life pre-Tesla?
Are you allowed to know what Herbert's life was pre-Tesla? Absolutely. I mean, so I started this company called Healthentic. Prior to that, I actually worked at a very large company. My claim to fame is I created a healthcare analytics platform. 60% of hospitals use that today, and it takes data from all the hospitals, and then you can basically benchmark the kind of hospital you are, and it can do complication rate, mortality rates, procedures by doctor, by body part, by anything, and then you compare how you as a hospital perform in that procedure, and then you find out what is actually the best practice and how to improve, right?
That is super cool.
It was bought by IBM Global Services. That's when I was working at a big company. I started a healthcare company called Healthentic, and then that was a dental, again, same thing, dental analytics. I think now 20 dental insurance companies gave the data.
Wow.
We produce reports. Every company here, 60% of the companies here in the US, in Washington State, for example, like Microsoft, they would get these reports today to understand their, wellness analytics. And then I started a couple other startups, one that didn't do well, and then another one that is still alive today called Juva Health. And what that is a digital app using just your phone, cameras, looking at it. It can look at your biometrics, your heart rate, your breathing rate, and we're first going after migraine, but it's 11 conditions that it can treat. So.
Wait, this is so cool. I didn't know you were doing cool stuff that's good for the real world.
Yes.
That's super cool. And so what does your day-to-day look like right now?
Well,
are
now
you like working on, do you like make podcasts 24/7?
This is, I'm full-time doing this Tesla thing. I mean, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I guess I sort of started, I said to myself, what would retirement look like? What would be a very exciting thing for me? And this is it.
Wow, so you're kind of like retired, but I feel like you're grinding all the time. Like you're always making content.
Exactly. But no, I mean, the funny thing is like, what would be the ideal job for me? Like what? Well, I want to be talking technology, humanoid robots, and then I want to be interviewing intelligent people and experts in their fields.
Totally.
And I want to like wake up every day and I get to interview somebody. So this is not like work. Every day it's like, oh, today I get to talk to Jeff for an hour. Tomorrow, oh, I get to talk to Brian White for an hour. It's like a lot of fun. For me, like these are friends. And then I find other experts, and then it's a blast. So I don't find it to be work, honestly. It's just so much fun. So.
And what's your this is what I was thinking with my content is having a North Star is so important.
Yeah.
Invest in the future you believe in. Like, how do you, because it's not just, oh, Tesla tuber, you make Tesla content. Like, what is your North Star of the angle you cover Tesla with, and what's your kind of goal there?
Honestly, it sounds cliche, but it literally is, it's me learning. That's why it's called Brighter with Herbert. My job is I'm not the expert. I don't position myself as an expert, but I do become the expert because I talk to all these people, but I'm not the expert. I want to learn. I want to learn from the battery experts. I want to learn from the energy, right? The robot experts. So I get to interview all the top CEOs of robot companies, and I bring in Dr. Scott Walter, and every day I learn. So it's just, that's the goal, right? It's like, and then the future is clearly going to be autonomous. It's going to be robots. It's going to be, near zero energy, near zero labor. And hopefully it's a utopia, but it can also go with the other way around with AI. But I'm always interested in what's next, and I'm always trying to understand what's coming next. And that's what excites me, right?
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And obviously that would have a lot of overlap with what Tesla's doing and what Elon's doing. So what kind of excites you now that you've been learning and researching? You're kind of at the forefront here, talking to founders, talking to all these people in tech, following the cutting edge companies. Where are we at now with what excites you most?
It's clearly, without a doubt, it's humanoid robots. I'm just enthralled with that. I want to do more videos on that. It is just so amazing what that's going to do to our world.
Yeah.
But just watching it develop from nothing, this idea that people said literally January of last year. What is it now? It's like September, right? January of last year, the vast majority of people said humanoid robots will never happen in my lifetime. It's just not capable. And then January to March, there was this, so many drops of demos of, hey, yeah, this is possible. The AI is capable of teaching. You can actually teach a robot to do things autonomously. And we're not there yet because clearly, like you get these demos and people get excited, then they overshoot in terms of how fast they think. The biggest issue right now is the durability of the hardware. And that will take some time before they can get that into mass production. But there's no more doubt at this point that the world's about to change, not just with humanoids, but all sorts of different form factors.
And what do you say about the timeline for people who maybe aren't like following this super closely? Like, let's say I think robots in the home is such a big moment for us. And that's when it goes to be like the next iPhone kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the computing device that everyone has. That's why we don't think of the robot as kind of the next thing, but I feel like it will be. So when do you see that really happening, whether it's Tesla or someone else, where we go beyond the Roomba?
Yeah. So just to be clear, I personally don't believe that robots are going to be in a home anytime soon. It's going to be more than 5 years to 10 years. But every company, Tesla does it, Figure does it, every company, especially 1X, they always want to excite you and show you there's a robot in your house. But the reality is that so let's say that Tesla makes 50 million robots. Are they going to start selling that to a consumer who's only going to pay maybe $3,000 a month, $30,000 a year, when they can sell that for $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year for other jobs, right? Especially the factory. So just the business model itself doesn't make sense for me why people think that a robot will be in a home next year. The other thing to consider is cobots, which is you got to be cobot certified. You need to be able, if you're at home, you need to be safe for vulnerable humans. These are like people in wheelchair, elderly, children. If just one slight move and they can break their arm, can hurt them, you've got to be certified that that can't happen and that will never happen. Yes, they will get
Herbert's healthcare background here coming in.
That will be solved, no problem. I believe in a year or two they will be cobot certified, but they're not cobot certified today. So don't think that, oh my God, we're going to see a robot in the house within this year. That's not going to happen. But then you go next year and the next year. I just can't see a company selling it. Now they'll be there. You'll see demos. You'll see employees have it. You'll see hundreds, but it's not going to be the iPhone moment where all of a sudden consumers are going to buy this. It's just the opportunity for selling this at the workspace is just unbelievable, right?
Yeah, and I feel like it'll be a slow boil almost, where we like slowly integrate these, and I'm so hyped you got me this. This is way cooler in person now that I like opened it up. It's awesome.
I wish it moved, but it doesn't move.
I want to ask you about this thing, like what because this to me was a huge change for Tesla when following the story since 2012, like we're kind of in the same boat there. And then it was like, okay, this is the electric car company. I'm super passionate about sustainability and like this fun car. And then I feel like in COVID or 2020, 2021, it totally took this turn of like, we're the robots AI company. So that I think was, I don't want to say difficult to swallow, but it made me really rethink of like my whole reason I'm investing in Tesla is this mission to make the world sustainable, green energy.
Yeah.
I love the earth. Now it's like, instead of almost a defensive protect the earth play, it's an offensive using robotics and AI to like build something we've never seen out of Westworld. So, which is like, I don't know. So how did I
look at it? So
how did that sit with you?
So selfishly, I am a product and business first. That's what got me excited about Apple and Steve Jobs. I'm enthralled with the way that he built his company. And I'm ever since the founding of the garage kind of thing, right? How he builds his products and what made them, invention of new technology. That's what got me excited first. And they're a tech first company, and then all of a sudden, they're a computer company, then became a consumer company with AirPods and all these kind of things later, entertainment. And so the same thing with Tesla. They're a tech company first. And the way he built his company from the very beginning, that's what got me excited. Now the secondary, saving the earth and all that, that's fantastic. That is a great mission to get behind, but it wasn't my first thing.
Interesting.
I did say
Okay.
though that I did invest in Tesla after I invested in a in an electric bus company that was trying to save the earth.
We thought
too.
you were doing the right thing. You threw us off there for a second.
But no, I mean, I'm more excited about new technology that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
And then that's what got me excited. And okay, that's great. It's going to
So,
be good. Yeah.
no, I know I didn't want to cut you off,
Yeah,
but I'm saying
yeah.
so in that lens, the bot was perfect for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I think people are not registering even the Tesla bulls today. I think many of us do, which is Elon and Tesla has created a brand new product or company in his case every 2 years.
Wow.
So if you stop and think about it, it's like he hasn't stopped. Don't think that Tesla is not. All of a sudden they're doing energy. All of a sudden they're doing autonomous cars, and then now they're doing bots. This is not it. It's not over. In a couple of years from now, he'll announce another new product that Tesla will be doing, or another company that he'll be doing. Right?
Yeah. No, it's insane. Like the and it's very
Because they're a tech company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so, like what Tesla is in its DNA is so different from almost anything we've seen on the market. Like I'm trying to wrap my head around this bot idea because it seems like such a moonshot. But then on the flip side, you have Elon saying he's in the trenches, working all night on it, meeting with the team. Like clearly they're walking around the Palo Alto office when Benioff goes to visit, and it's like, and I know people roasted that demo of like, did you see that one?
I did,
Like,
yeah.
It wasn't smooth, but it was also like, to me, that was so Tesla style of like,
Yeah.
they didn't, like, that was just the bot that walks around the office that day that you can literally talk to, even though it sucks. Like, imagine how better that gets. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just feel like the humanoid robot thing, I keep going back and forth on, is this actually going to happen soon? Is this even real? It seems too good to be true that it's like an infinite money glitch in the universe almost solving everything in the economy.
Yes.
This little bot, like it's almost too good to be true
Yeah.
from a business perspective. But then on the flip side, I'm like, Elon Musk if he's working 24/7 to make it happen and they have this new pay package, like he's gonna make this thing happen. It's gonna be real. So I don't know. Do you ever kind of like get pinched at the surrealness of this product?
This is why,
going to change the world.
Yeah, this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm excited, which is I want to interview every single humanoid robot CEO out there. I want to interview as many experts out there to understand deeply, how likely this is. At this point, even you've got grad students, 3 grad students created this, a test, and they were able to show that they can get this, this robot that runs on wheels, but it can, like, let's say, press the elevator button, or push chairs into the proper location, right? Or to clean up a spilled thing.
It's helpful.
Yeah. For each of those tasks, they only had 500 training tasks, just 500 times, and they were able to get to 85% accuracy. Like they can replicate it 85%. So the error rate's still there. But
way dumber than a human.
But
you show a human something 100 times and they still don't get it. With 85, you're like, oh my God, this doesn't.
The point that they're making there is that a very simple, low-cost, $30,000 contraption can actually do these tasks. And that's been proven by Jensen Huang, and everybody else comes back and starts talking about it, that they keep leapfrogging each other. At first everybody said AI is the thing, yes, I can create the hardware, but AI won't be able to train them to do the bots at the high level of accuracy you need and reputability. But now AI's jumped to the point now that it's hardware. If you ask the CEOs, they'll tell you it's hardware, because you will see these demos, but you have to ask yourself the question when you see these demos by the Chinese robots or anybody's is, okay, you saw a demo, but that doesn't mean it's ready to be built at scale, because how long, if I was to carry a 50-pound, bag of rice, whatever it is, and over and over and over in a day, how long before my elbow goes out, right? But humans are designed so well that it can last a long time. These bots, after doing that for 3 months, they'll break.
And that's 20 grand.
The actuator is too expensive right now, right? And there's 40 actuators in 40 to 48, depending on the bot setup, in a human bot. So they need to, that part, do not be confused, and don't be to think that I saw a demo, they're ready to go. That's what they're struggling with right now, is the durability of these actuators. And so that part will take a year or two. And that's where you see Elon pushing back and now saying, I'm only going to be able to do 1 million per year in 2030. He initially was so excited, right?
Interesting.
But
So you think he's dialed back on the mass producibility of the bot and how hard that's
well, they
going to be?
discovered that Scott Walters, an expert in this space, and he said that a Tesla humanoid robot has linear actuators, not just rotary. And these linear actuators, they can't make enough of them this year. And there's a dearth of that. Now, Tesla's very likely going to create their own linear actuators, and so therefore, that'll give them, they need 6 months to a year to design it.
They can't get it, they're doing it
They're going to build it
It's
themselves,
going to take
right?
a while, but they'll build it.
But that slowed them down to his aggressive goals that he said, I'm going to have 2,000 per month built by this year. Well, that ain't happening because of that linear actuator.
Interesting. I like this juicy little tidbit.
Right, so it was slowed down for this year, next year. But there's no doubt at this point that he will be making millions. This will be, as you said, too good to be true. They can train them. And then what's going to happen is finally they'll solve the hardware, and then the AI needs to catch up. And then they're going to keep, which is the biggest bottleneck at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the C3PO, that's what I'm thinking of it as. Like, that is the new product. That is what it is to consumers. Like, you'll have it. Okay, but I want to switch gears because it's a little pie in the sky, I feel like.
Yeah.
Optimus is going to take a while. So let's get back to the new Tesla gossip, which is this share package with Elon, which is kind of tying to Optimus, because I feel like Optimus isn't a discussion if you can't retain your star player. Like, I keep trying to use the analogy of like Tesla's the sports team with LeBron, who hasn't been paid in 5 years, and now it's like we need to get LeBron paid and lock him up for another 5 if we're gonna do the championship thing again. So I feel like, to me, that is, and I wanted to shout out Alexandra and the Cyberbulls for their work and your guys' work to, get Elon paid and involve the retail shareholder community with Tesla, because I feel like that is really cutting edge, next level stuff. So how are you feeling going into the vote? Do you feel like we are going to get this passed and get Elon paid? Obviously, I'm assuming you're for it, but what's your take on this vote?
So far it's looking really, really good that it's going to happen, and there's a couple reasons why. So first of all, you should go visit Alexandra Mertz, Tesla Boomer Mama on X, and take a look at her new pinned post. So she has this table that she created that shows the 13 different proposals that we're all going to vote on. We will see the results on November 6th, but any day today, as you're watching this, your broker should be sending you control numbers that lets you vote now. But if you take a look at her page, she basically tells you the page numbers for each of these proposals.
Yep.
And you can read them up and understand what you want to do. She gives you her guidance on what she's going to vote for. But what she discovered, which is such a big deal of will this pass or not pass? What she discovered was there's a reason. We all know why Tesla had to move from Delaware to Texas. But Texas corporate laws is different. And so she actually very heavily shows you for each of these votes which ones only require 50% plus 1. And some of them require 66 plus 1.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the good news is that all the big ones that we want is 50% plus 1. That's number one. Again, that's because of Texas corporate law.
And isn't there going to be 2 votes that are happening somehow? One by the Texas rule, one by the Delaware rules?
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Okay, never mind.
No.
Scratch out.
Nope. No, there's one. It's all in Texas now. Now, the second thing that's very interesting is that the question is, can Elon and Kimball themselves vote?
Maybe that's what I was
some of these proposals.
Yeah.
And again, Alexandra did so much work. She figured it out, and she finally learned that absolutely they can vote because it's Texas. If you're in Delaware, you can't, or there's some issues there. Yeah.
But isn't the Delaware case not settled yet?
Right.
So that's the weird, there's weird things going on.
But it's okay. So the Delaware case happened. It forced Elon not to get his compensation package from the 2018, right? Which, even though we voted twice for it, still can't get it, right?
Yeah,
but it's in appeal, and we're going to learn the outcome of that appeal by the end of this year or January. But it almost doesn't matter. And so the very likelihood is that the Supreme Court of Delaware will kind of overturn that, and then Tesla will win, no problem. But it doesn't matter because what Tesla did, the board did, was they just gave a third of that amount already to Elon now. So he already got a third of it.
Under the current employee stock plan. So there's 2 kind of things that are scheming.
And then if that fails, one of the things we're voting on in November is to increase the compensation of a stock option availability. They can give them a second tranche. So and then so it'll be 2/3 of what he was owed.
Yep.
So even if that appeal is lost, there's still a way that the board figured out how they can still make him whole
Yeah.
for the old one. Yeah.
And to me, something behind the scenes seems to have clicked with Elon working 24/7 at Tesla, working on the Optimus, like him buying $1 billion of stock in the open market. Like he is like,
Dialed in.
to me in his head, it's like he's decided like, all right, I'm going to do this within Tesla. The board and the shareholders and I are going to figure out how to make it fair. Like we're doing it.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a little bit of a change in sentiment that's got me personally really hyped. Back to the star player analogy. It's like, it's looking like we're locking them up. Like this is huge.
And not just you,
huge
not
news
just the
for
retail
Tesla.
shareholders, but the institutional shareholders. So you got not only
They're what could screw this whole thing up.
No, but
they've been fumbling the bag in the past. Like even the Norway guy, it's like these institutional guys. It kills me though because they're like,
I mean, yes, but so you can see the tide's turning. You've got Baird just yesterday saying that we see Tesla as a physical AI company. They gave a target of $3,000 in 10 years for Tesla stock. They believe 100% that Elon's going to hit his targets.
Taking a quick moment to give a huge shout out to our sponsor for this episode that makes this possible. I'm talking about The Rundown. It's a podcast that's out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And in less than 10 minutes, you're going to get all the info you need about the stock market that day, the biggest movers, the biggest news. It's a fun, chill way to catch up on market news. It's The Rundown podcast. I'll put a link in the description below. Go check that out. And a huge shout out to them for sponsoring the show. I mean, give them a follow just for that. Anyway, go check out The Rundown. The Wall Street herd is catching on.
Then you got Piper Sandler. It's Piper Sandler again, now up at $500 price target. They're all jumping on board at this point. And so far we haven't heard any, or knock on wood, of institutionals kind of going back and saying, this is a terrible deal, this will never happen, those kind of things.
Oh, ruining the vibe ahead of the vote. Sorry, I'm finishing my tea.
But the good news again is that we don't need all of them anyways. We've got enough. The board members are doing kind of a road show, right? And they're going out there, and I think that they've got what they need.
Wait, give me a flavor of. I should know this. How many votes does the retail community have?
Yeah,
I want to say it's like 25%.
Yeah, I think it's like 30, something like that.
Like
it has fallen.
Not huge,
it's not huge anymore.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not nothing. I was going to say feels huge. Like 30%.
30
like
plus
we are
percent,
a huge player
in
deciding this.
What
like
has
it's
happened,
not just which I think is cool.
Yeah, what has happened in just fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year, while everybody was tanking on Tesla, guess who was buying? All the institutions. And so we take a look at it again. It was, oh my God, the institutions have just completely, risen and what their percentage is, and the retail's fallen.
So retail's been getting spooked.
Yep.
Oh no.
But the good news again, if Elon and Kimball can vote, and a few of the institutions are on board, then I think hopefully, knock on wood, we're okay. But every retail investor, you need to vote. So when you get that,
it's not a done deal. That's what we're saying. Even though it looks good.
Yeah.
So follow Alexandra, and I think it's so cool I'm a huge fan of the Cyberbulls, your podcast that you guys do, because it's so much more than a podcast. Like the work that you and Alexandra are doing, and Jeff and Xander. Yeah. I don't know, am I missing anyone else? That's the main.
I mean, we have a bunch of others that.
Brian.
Yep.
But anyway, the whole Cyberbulls squad, because. And I feel like Alexandra has some sort of prior knowledge in this because she's kind of an expert in dealing with shareholder matters, which is kind of the X factor because she's also the Tesla YouTuber homie podcaster on our side, but also knows how the institutional shareholder governance works. Yeah. Bringing those two worlds together to make it easy to vote is huge. And it's kind of like the cutting edge of so much shareholder governance, which is truly governance of everything. How do we run the world's largest companies? How do individuals impact how we run the world's largest companies? And I think it's not we're going to look back in history, and that will get a lot more credibility and attention that it's getting now, as they're going to be like, Alexandra Mers led this, that was this. Like there'll be like a little mention of what Herbert did. But I was it's all you guys. But I'm joking. I like messing with you, but I just think I'm such a big fan of it because it's like I would never be able to figure it out on my own. There's so many people like me who want to support, and you making it easy actually moves the needle. So.
Yeah, I mean, Alexandra Mertz was a fund manager in her past. She worked at Moody's, and she just, not only that, but she actually just spends weekends diving through the 400-page proxy that just dropped,
Yeah.
and to really understand it. And people like Amy does the same thing. And,
Yeah.
and then they file lawsuits, or they kind of counter lawsuits just to, like, you know, the retail community at Tesla is unmatched, right? I think that there's 10 million. It's even bigger than
Wow.
GameStop. It's like the largest retail community out there. And then we are actually active.
Wait, that's super cool. I didn't know we were bigger than GameStop.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to the Tesla community.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we've been through a lot recently. So I feel like the people who've really been through all these cycles,
Yeah.
in some ways have a bond, because
have a
there's
bond.
been so much. I was trying to like tell somebody of like my friend Leo. He's like, oh, I'm finally gonna buy Tesla. Like, and he's been my roommate for like 15 years. Like he was like my roommate in college.
Yeah.
And that's my other Tesla friends always make fun of him. They're like, you were Galley's roommate and you didn't buy Tesla stock. Like he was talking about Tesla 24/7 for
Yes.
like, but even he's always like, oh, like I missed it.
The Tesla community is
but-
amazing. I mean, you and Omar and Kristen, you guys were the original. Like, you guys fought the bears, the Qs, Tesla Qs that was trying. And at the time that you guys were doing it, it was so critical because Tesla could have died. It literally
Right.
was at that moment. And the epic thing, come on, man,
Well, it
was
felt-
at the earnings call that you got called up by Elon, and it was the first time that retail had a voice. I don't know if people know that, but it was like, it's pretty epic, man.
Yeah,
It was like, what was it?
Q1 2018.
2018, Q1, typically what happens in earnings call, almost every company, is they will always reserve time for large institutional, big whale investors to have their chance to ask a question. Elon got tired of the stupid questions these guys are asking, calls up Gali as the representative for the Tesla retail. You come on there, and it galvanized us. We have a voice.
And Elon listened, which is why I think people sometimes like, oh, you're Elon Musk fan. It's like, what other billionaire CEO was
you have
listening?
accent to?
Who is that? And like being like actually
You
just
went to
on
his house.
on the pulse of like, wait, like there's something bubbling up with my retail investors having my back more than Wall Street. Like instead of ignoring them, pretending I'm too important like every other CEO, maybe I should actually be like, wait, the people who put their money in this company are actually like my biggest asset to support me. Let's lean into that.
Yeah.
And then how big is the Tesla community? I was asking questions for like 100 million worth of shareholders.
Absolutely.
So
Like, big.
and
big.
it's like, okay, well now if we band together, we're strong and we're an institution. And I feel like that was so cool. And so now Tesla still leads their earnings call with the upvoted shareholder question, which is still such a like, we care about
wanna
the little
change that
guy.
too, but,
And I feel like, and now it's gotten to be, maybe it's not as effective as it was before, but I feel like that was a big moment. And getting back to why it's so important of like the robot, this is such a powerful product and technology. Who controls that technology is very important. And so that's why all this work we're doing now with the governance and getting Elon control and talking about it seems kind of boring and esoteric, but I feel like in the future it will become extremely important.
Even Elon himself, just a couple days ago, he came out and said that this, he said something like, the board said that Elon is once in a generation CEO, and we need to, vote yes to support him. It's going to be the future of Tesla. Elon replies saying, it's not just the future of Tesla, it's the future of the world.
Yeah.
And that's how he sees it, right? Which is like not an exaggeration. This is about AI, it's about robots, and who do you want to be running this? Somebody who, I mean, we don't know what's going to end up happening, but this is where I would put my effort in.
And it seems so obvious to people within the Tesla community, but it kind of frustrates me that it's not obvious outside. It's not for money, it's for control.
Yeah.
Like, it's for making sure these powerful technologies are controlled by the right people, which is, I don't even want to get into the Sam Altman OpenAI drama because that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's like, even that to me is just crazy that even at the highest levels, there's still like, no one knows what they're doing with corporate governance in some ways. Like, it's a mess. So, okay, before we're getting rambling here, I'm thinking I want to scheme on Robotaxi just a little, because that's what I feel like is the action now. Even as much as we're talking about Optimus, the next 2 years of being a Tesla tuber could be epically fun because we're going to see Robotaxi launch. So what's your take on Robotaxi? You did it in Austin.
I was, one of the first people to ever actually hail a Robotaxi ride in Austin. That was a blast. That was fine. And I mean, like, when you take these Robotaxi rides, so it's one thing, like, many of us Tesla investors have our Teslas and we have FSD and we're using it. That's fantastic. And you can see that it works. Like, pretty well works, right? I've been driving my Model 3 Hardware 4 car now. I'm at 7 months, no critical disengagements, and I've driven it to Vancouver, Canada 3 times from Seattle. I've driven it to middle of nowhere in Washington State, and I've gone to Portland, and it's been no critical disengagements. Now, that's an N of 1. I don't know what that, does that translate to Robotaxi ready? But when I was in the Robotaxi, and that software was 6 months ahead of what we're using, you just instantly feel comfortable. And I just shocked myself that I wasn't even like looking out and being careful. I just immediately was comfortable. And I think that that's a sense of the kind of ride you're getting. And so far, what is it now? Since June 22nd to today, knock on wood, it's been fairly quiet, no major issues, and the software is only going to get better. That's the worst it's going to be. It's going to keep getting better and better and better. So at this point, they're launching it, they're expanding fast. Yeah, I mean, it
feels like a
good.
secret we all know. That's what I always feel like. People don't realize that my old beat up looking Tesla that's 5 years old is actually driving itself.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've been convinced, and I almost feel like that's why Elon was, and he bought $1 billion of stock, is he's like, it's working. And I know he's been saying that, but I feel like it really is. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm very excited about Robotaxi, and I feel like I'm kind of thinking it, like you said, Tesla launches a company every 2 years. To me, this is its own company. It's totally different than selling a car. It's selling a service. It's an app. You need supply and demand. It's a whole network you're running in each city. You have local legislations. So it's its own little team. And what gives me so much optimism and excitement is the speed at which Tesla moves once they create these little units is insane. And I had to like quintuple check that they have more area in their service network than Waymo. Like, I could not believe that. They're already... certain caveats
to Waymo, what a lot of people are not doing, and they should be, it's not just looking at the tech. And so often the debate is, have you not seen Waymo? They can do it already. They've been doing it for 7 cities today, and they're going to be 10 cities, and they're already doing it flawlessly. But that's the tech. Okay, now there's the LiDAR debate and so forth. What you need to be looking at is the operations. So if you look at Waymo, they just, and Uber, they just shared kind of like what's happening. Waymo's confusing, man. They've got 10 cities, and each city, they have a different app. Some cities you use Waymo, in other cities they partner with Uber, in other cities they partner with Lyft. They just announced that. And then you have to find out who services this. They've got a Lyft subsidiary that will do the servicing of these cars, because they don't have the infrastructure, versus Tesla will have all these service centers, they'll have their sales centers, they have their supercharger locations. Those are the things you want to watch for, because Uber has to partner with, or Waymo has to partner with all these people because they don't have it. And so they can't expand as fast, but they also can't get their costs down because they're going to be partnering with too many people, right? And what's confusing is like, oh, if you happen to be in LA, then Austin, you download the Uber app in order to hail a Waymo. You go in LA, you got to download the Waymo app. It's like, what? Why are we doing that? But
like maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're experimenting a ton right now and trying to figure it out. Sure.
They're great.
But, and I do think Waymo is a cool service, but I'm holding back from roasting them so hard on this app strategy because it's such a fumble of the bag of like having the most game-changing technology of like 50 years and then being like, yep, but you got to download the Uber app and like maybe you won't even get it. It's like, just let people pay for it, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like the Tesla expansion, the more and more I've thought about the whole Tesla Waymo debate, at first I was like, oh, they'll both win. I'm more bearish on traditional car sales. I feel like I'm so bullish on the cost being such a big deal that Waymo will get thought of as an afterthought and not really moving the needle. But now when the Tesla Robotaxi comes in and it's truly like half the price, that's where true disruption occurs, is when you have a better product for a cheaper price, you actually like expand the market. Yeah. And so I feel like we're on the cusp of Tesla having this massive like textbook disruption moment where the rideshare market goes from like, I don't know, 50 billion, 100 billion to trillions, like overnight because of that price decrease.
I wish I had a good analogy to this. I was going to try to pick a sports analogy, but they are playing different games. And so if you're Waymo and you're going, okay, look, I'm going to beat ride hail, I'm going to be cheaper than, well, they're not yet today, by the way, than Uber and Lyft, right? And so I'm going to show you that I have a technology in each of these cities, and just like all ride hails, I can do that. Franz von Holhausen, chief designer for Tesla, was just interviewed this week, And he said that a Robovan could get the price down to 10 cents a mile. You know? And it's like, that's the game that they're playing. At some point in the future, they're trying to bring the cost per mile to 10, 20 cents. Like, let's hope that they can do that. But that is a totally different game than $4 a mile or $2 a mile, which is already cheaper than everyone else. Because Tesla's not trying to win ride hail. They're trying to change personal transportation, where you don't need to own a car anymore. You can just hail a Robotaxi and it'll be your car anytime you want. And so, and it'll replace buses and trains and so forth. So this is the difference, right? And then in order to do that goal, if that's your goal, you need to bring your cost structure so low that you can even say that I'm going to eventually get it to 10, 20 cents a mile. Versus Uber, Waymo's not even playing that game at all. Totally different game.
So they're talking Robovan. What other gossip have you been hearing recently about Cybercab?
Gossip about Cybercab? I don't know.
Because you're in the know. I feel like you're on the streets, Herbert. You're doing these spaces all day. You got all these tidbits. Franz last week was talking about Robovan. That's big, you know?
I don't have any. Obviously, we know now that they just got their permits for Arizona today or yesterday, right? You saw that from.
So yeah, they're expanding. Nevada and Arizona looks like the next two. I like those are easy peasy cities. Yeah. Like not a lot of hype. Warm, clear weather, flat. They already have ride hailing there. Like this is, I'm so excited.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, Ashoka Swami was posted a post saying, "Hey, look at the Robotaxi app has skyrocketed to the top in the Apple App Store." Elon replied to him and he said, I guess we have to roll out more cities. Yeah. And so it took a little, obviously, A, he's confident, and B, what they're going to do is, sounds like what their plan is. It's just roll out, but it's going to be ride hail. He's still a guy in supervised driving, just like me and you driving our cars. There's somebody there. They can do that in many, many, many cities. And then once they got each city mapped, then they'll switch it over to a rider, and then eventually they take that guy out. But it's, again, back to the goal is operations. Because we already know that the tech works. Okay, which is the opposite of the Tesla Qs. They'll look at it, goes, I guess the tech doesn't work because they have to have no. When you launch a service, you need to set up the very first time, right? You have your app, you have to educate the people, you have to know the cities, where you're going to hail, how many cars you need, where is it going to get charged overnight.
Yeah.
All that has to be in place first. So let's have a driver in the car until we got that nailed, and then we'll remove the driver. Like, even if you already worked 100%, you know already it's better than a human, you're still not going to launch it with nobody in the car. You're just not, until you've got all that settled anyways. So
yeah, it's common sense. Like it's such a risky thing. You want to be, so I think that's such a fine balance of Elon's all offense, crazy tech disruption with this is the most turtle defensive business you need to have of like each time we launch,
So if you think that way, I don't think that you're going to have any concerns about, or lower probability that you won't be able to have Tesla announcing a new city every 2 weeks until the end of the year, right? And then he already said that if any place that has Waymo, you can basically use that as your guide, because if Waymo's there, then that means that they've the city and the state has already approved for this, and so yeah, I mean, like Arizona approved the permit for Tesla. But Tesla is only one of 10 other car companies or autonomous car companies that's already got permits. So it's not like
I like that strategy a lot. Like Waymo's going to come to Seattle. They'll have to figure it all out. Then Tesla will come in. And they can piggyback on that launch plan for...
Yeah.
So that's how you know if Robotaxi's coming to you, is if Waymo's there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we can wrap up here because it's getting a little hot here in the sun. Anything else that we should close with?
I mean, I always close with humanoid robots. I think that's the most important thing, but...
we covered that.
We covered it, yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much for being the first guest, Herbert, on Tea and Tesla. I hope y'all liked it. I mean, I thought I had a blast. Yeah. And I got a new toy, which is like, I mean...
There you go.
Like, this is like iconic. Like...
It's a toy. Wait until it moves.
So pumped on this.
That would be the talk to you. That would be
like, cool. Wow, this is going in my new apartment. Anyway, thanks a lot, Herbert. Really appreciate it. And thanks to all tuning in. See y'all next time. Wow, I love it. All right, let's make sure, and hopefully that was actually recording.